As I mentioned earlier, and as you heard, we're joined today by the great Ben Folds, who has a new book coming out on Ballantine Books. And how's this for a title? A Dream About Lightning Bugs, A Life of Music and Cheap Lessons. Ben, share a little taste of this book with us.
Absolutely. I brought a chapter for your entertainment.
I was hoping you'd say that.
This chapter is called Benny, What is Cool? William Shatner put a seemingly simple question to me one night in 2004 over dinner at my studio during our sessions for his album Has Been. This record, which I produced and co-wrote, is one of my proudest moments and a lesson in creative courage. Shatner never does the same take twice. If only most rock artists were so fearless and energetic. I was once staying at his house when he knocked at the door, balancing a 200-pound oak table on his back. He plopped it on the floor. "There, Benny, you'll need a table." That was a man of 72 years. On our first project together in 1997, when he guested on my experimental album, Fear of Pop, a few of his friends had pulled me aside to warn me that Bill didn't take direction easily. "He eats directors for breakfast," said one. I later saw Bill at breakfast, and this took on a whole new dimension. But he soon became Bill to me, and I became Benny to him. I should add that there's only one dude who I'll be Benny for, so don't even think about it. Despite his friends' warnings, I found that Bill took musical direction well. I was blunt as I needed to be, and he only ever snapped at me twice. Once was near the end of the entire Has Been session when he suddenly barked, "Benny, you've been pecking at me like a chicken," because he felt I'd been pushing him too hard on a set of lyrics he was writing. The other bark was in the form of a question, the one I mentioned earlier, that he posed to me over dinner. While laying waste to a black bean burrito, he always had coupons for Baja Fresh for some reason. Bill, out of nowhere, charged me with overuse of the word cool. It seems his distaste for this word had been building for a while. "Benny, what is cool?" he shouted across the table. I had used cool a good 100 times during that day's recording session, he estimated. For instance, he said, if anyone had asked the question, "Could we try bongos on this?" or suggested, "Maybe it's time for a break," I would always respond with, "That's cool." While listening to a handful of vocal takes, I might proclaim one to be cooler than the others. But Bill felt I didn't even use the word yes much anymore and fell back on cool for that too. I attempted to explain, "You know, Bill, cool, like when you don't care what anyone thinks," or cool, like when something's just right, or, but Bill wasn't satisfied. "No, Benny, listen to me, what is cool?" he repeated, now sounding uncannily like William Shatner. "Okay, I'll tell you something cool, Bill," I said. "Cool is that story you just told moments ago about riding motorcycles across the country with Larry Hagman, and as you had so flippantly referred to him, some guy who drummed in a rock band. Oh, what was that drummer's name, you said? Keith somebody, from a band called, I think, The Who. Bill, that's Keith Moon. You took a chopper trip with J.R. and Keith Moon. Now that's cool. It's double cool that you couldn't even remember his name." But that was not what he was looking for. Shatner was in the middle of playing a lawyer on the popular TV show Boston Legal. His cross-examination technique was at its peak, and I found myself crumbling on the witness stand. No, Benny, you don't understand the question. What is cool? How can I be cool or make cool music if I don't even know what it is?" He then stabbed his fork into the table. His eyes widened. He sat back, mouthing this silent "ah," and gazing through the tops of our heads. Frozen in a masterful thespian quake, his hands positioned just above his forehead, as if holding an imaginary volleyball for all to see. Then, the trance passed. He blinked a few times and snapped out of it. Suddenly, I understood what he was saying. He didn't actually stab the table with a fork, by the way. What Professor Shatner was doing as he spat black beans across the studio table was pushing back against something that seemed creatively oppressive to him. And I think he's dead on. It is oppressive judging music as you create it on how cool it is, in constant fear of making something that's not cool. I began to reflect on my songwriting and my fraught relationship with this concept of cool. After all, my career began in 1995 with these lines from the song Underground, which was our first top 40 hit in the UK. I was never cool in school. I'm sure you don't remember me. I felt terminally uncool, and so I was honest about it. We all want to be cool. We all can't be cool, and that's probably why the song resonated. On my second album in 1996, Whatever and Ever Amen, I was still grappling with this cool business with songs like The Battle of Who Could Care Less, which was based on two characters called General Apathy and Major Boredom. They were having sort of a cool-off. And back then, cool was about being bored or depressed. Talking about killing yourself would definitely get you laid in the 90s. And I continued singing about being cool into the 2000s. As recently as the month before the Shatner record, I had released a song called There's Always Someone Cooler Than You. But after that night, when Bill went full Buddha on me, asking me, Benny, what is cool, my songs never again revisited the subject. And I made a conscious effort to use more precise and effective vocabulary while creating music. I was now free from worrying about conforming to a shallow cultural idea. After all, I wasn't going to achieve coolness if I couldn't even define it. You know, in rock and roll, we don't really have mentors. We rockers don't listen to our elders because, of course, old people aren't cool. But I got to have a rock and roll mentor because when Captain Kirk speaks, you damn well listen. And how incredibly cool, no, how incredibly fortunate is that? Thank you. Love you, Bill.